MCQs for Handbook of Local Anesthesia. The contents: 1. Neurophysiology. 2. Pharmacology of local anesthetics. 3. Pharmacology of the vasoconstrictors. 4. Clinical action of the specific agents. 5. The syringe. 6. The needle. 7. The cartridge. 8. The additional armamentarium. 9. Preparation of the armamentarium. 10. Physical and psychological evaluation. 11. Basic injection technique. 12. Anatomic considerations. Techniques of maxillary anesthesia. 14. Techniques of mandibular anesthesia. 15. Supplemental injection techniques. 16. Anesthetic considerations in dental specialties. 17. Local complications. 18. Systemic complications. 19. Legal considerations. 20. Future trends in the pain control. Chapter 1. Neurophysiology. The question number 1. Local anesthesia is associated with which effect? A. Tissue irritation. B. Unconsciousness. C. Irreversible onset. D. Loss of sensation. 2. The basic structural unit of the nervous system is A. Neuron. B. Osteon. C. Sarcomere. D. Keratinocyte. Question number 3. The efferent nerve cells are distinguished by which characteristics? A thin nerve membrane encases the axon. B. The cell body provides metabolic support for the cell. C. The cell body lies directly between the axon and the dendrites. D. The free nerve endings form a tree-like arrangement in the dendritic zone. 4. Which cellular component is critical to nerve conduction? A. Nucleus. B. Exoplasm. C. Exolemma. D. Myelin sheath. The question number 5. As it travels along a nerve fiber, the strength of an impulse remains constant, rapidly increases, steadily decreases, gradually increases. Question number 6. The firing threshold of nerve conduction is characterized by A. Slow depolarization. Rapid depolarization. C. Gradual depolarization. D. Reversal of electrical potential. 7. Local anesthetics produce which effect on the nerve membrane? A. Less sodium is required to achieve repolarization. B. More sodium is required to achieve depolarization. C. Less potassium is required to achieve depolarization. D. More potassium is required to achieve repolarization. Right. Question number 8. The combined depolarization and repolarization of a nerve membrane takes A. 1 second. B. 0.7 second. C. 1 millisecond. D. 0.3 millisecond. Which statement is true? A. Nerve membrane channels expand momentarily during depolarization. And B. Chloride ions are too large to pass through the resting nerve membrane channels. C. Membrane channels are external channel passages located outside the nerve membrane. D. Sodium channel gates are located. The sodium channel gates are located near the internal surface of the nerve membrane. Question number 10. Which prevents retrograde, that is backward impulse propagation? A. Ranvier nodes, B. Refractory period, C. Membrane channels, D. Saltatory conduction. Question number 11. A neural impulse travels rapidly in myelinated nerves, sporadically in the unmyelinated nerves. C. By leaping from node to node in unmyelinated nerves. D. By adjacent depolarization of nerve membrane in myelinated nerves. 12. In order to inhibit impulse transmission in a myelinated nerve, the anesthetic solution must cover how many millimeters of a nerve fiber? A. 1 to 2 millimeter, B. 3 to 5 millimeter, C. 6 to 7 millimeter, D. 8 to 10 millimeter. The question number 13. Which phase of action potential is most profoundly affected by local anesthesia? A. Resting, B. Depolarization, C. Slow depolarization, D. Rapid depolarization. Question number 14. Which theory is most widely accepted to explain the mechanism of action of local anesthesia? A. Acetylcholine theory, B. Specific receptor theory, C. Membrane expansion theory, D. Calcium displacement theory. Question number 15. Most injectable dental anesthetics bind to receptor sites at which location? A. Activation gate, B. Inactivation gate, C. Within the sodium channel, on the outer surface of the sodium channel. Question number 16. Which is the first step of anesthetic action? A. Impulse conduction, obstruction, B. Reduced rate of electrical depolarization, C. Displacement of calcium ions from the sodium channels, D. Attachment of the local anesthetic molecule to the sodium channel receptors. Question number 17. Which is true with regard to the pH of local anesthetics? A. Epinephrine containing anesthetic solutions are acidic. No. B. Anesthetic solutions that do not contain epinephrine are basic. C. Alkalized anesthetic solutions produce a burning sensation on injection. D. Highly acidic anesthetic solutions produce a rapid onset of action. Which anesthetic solution facilitates the most comfortable and effective injection? A. 3% mepivacaine HCl with a pH of 4.5, B. 0.5% bupivacaine HCl with a pH of 6.5, C. 2% lidocaine or epinephrine with a pH of 3.85, D. 4% articaine HCl or epinephrine or buffer with a pH of 7.35. Question number 19. In the presence of tissue inflammation or infection, local anesthesia is A. Nearly twice as potent, B. More rapidly achieved, C. More difficult to achieve, D. Likely to spread the infection. 20. Which is the primary diffusion barrier in a peripheral nerve? A. Fasciculi, B. Perilemma, C. Epineurium, D. Endoneurium. Answers for these questions are provided in the description below.